So for this project, I had picked up this beautiful red glass from a garage sale. They were asking $7 for 15 pieces. I offered them 5 and they took it. And look at how pretty this glass is. I really was planning on just smashing it up and using it for tumbled glass, but I thought I would try to make some shaped hearts out of it also. So what I did was just broke off pieces because I wanted to use the corners so that they were not just flat hearts but kind of, I don't know, three-dimensional. So, and as you know, glass doesn't always break the way you want it to. So you can see I chopped the top of that heart off already. But I just kind of used my nipper tool and kind of went around and tried to shape it into a heart. And these I'm going to tumble, so even though it looks a little bit rough around the edges right now, after it's been tumbled, it'll really smooth out and shape up. And when I put stuff into the tumbler, I usually put it in for about a week. So you can see here that these pieces aren't flat. They kind of have a curve to them, and I thought those looked kind of neat. They aren't perfectly flat like a piece of stained glass, and they're a beautiful red color. So in addition to shaping those hearts, I also broke up all the rest of the glass there to be tumbled. And I usually do it out in the garage in this wooden box. My husband actually built it for me because I was using like plastic tubs, like kitty litter tubs. And the glass after a few times was actually puncturing through the bottom, and I was getting glass all over the floor of the garage. So this seems to work out best. Anyway, I broke it all up, scooped it all up, and put it into my 45-pound MJR tumbler and tumbled that in addition to the shaped hearts for about a week. The other way that I shaped the hearts is when they came out, there was a lot of these triangles like that. So I decided I would make those into hearts. And I took them out to the garage where I have a glass grinder. And this is a 1/4-inch bit that I put on it. And I just go ahead and press it into it. I don't know if you can see that very well. My hand's kind of in the way. But and I put a groove into it. And then after I have the start of the groove, I go ahead and swap it out for the 1/8-inch bit. Then I'm able to put a deeper groove into it, and then this is what it looks like before it goes back into the tumbler. And then I make a whole bunch of these and I throw this back into the tumbler for probably close to another week. And I ended up with some whole bunch of these. These are the kind of three-dimensional hearts that are a little bit curved, and I ended up with some of those, not as many as I would have liked to have had, but I have a few more of those, and then also a lot of these shaped hearts that I use the glass grinder for. Some of these I'm going to use for this project. For this project, I started with a 14 by 17-inch picture frame. I removed the backing, I removed the glass, and then I painted the entire picture frame white with some white chalk paint. And it did need a couple of coats, so I had to wait, 20 minutes between coats. And after it had dried, I flipped it over and I took Elmer's glue and I put it around the perimeter of the back of the frame where the glass would sit. Then I replaced the glass and I put the Elmer's glue around the perimeter one more time. Now this serves two purposes. It helps to hold the glass in place and it helps to prevent any resin leaks. Then I had picked up this adorable stencil on Amazon and I had to cut it down to fit, and I actually ended up cutting it into 3 pieces to stabilize it better. And then I took a fine point Sharpie oil-based marker and went ahead and just outlined. And the trick with these markers are do not press. Just lightly draw your letters or outline them. This is the way that works best for me. And then I pull it up and then I take a thicker oil-based black Sharpie marker and just fill it in. And it is a little bit time consuming, but stenciling with paint on glass is more difficult than on canvas because you have to wait a considerable time in between each layer because it'll pull the paint up that you had put on as the first layer. It's just harder, trust me. But if you can do it that way, then that's fine. This is what works best for me. So next what I did was I took the centerpiece or the truck and I went ahead and I flipped the frame over and I put that on the very back. So if you saw the Christmas one I did with the truck with the tree in it, I put the stencil on the front and I put the rhinestone chains in between the openings of the stencil. And I think doing it this way is going to be easier because you don't have to worry about the stencil pulling the rhinestone chains off or the glue sticking to the stencil. This way you have it on the back and you just go ahead and follow along the lines. The other thing is if you have a picture of a truck, you could just put that on the back and go around the outline of the photo of the truck or whatever you might have. That would work also. So I used the clear Elmer's glue to follow along the perimeter of the truck, and then I followed on top of that with the rhinestone chains. And the rhinestone chains I'm using are 4mm clear with the silver on the back, and I'll link everything that I'm using in the description. And it's really very simple. Just clear Elmer's glue and then the rhinestone chain. Clear Elmer's glue and rhinestone chain. I took the black 4mm rhinestone chains and made a circle around the tire with the clear Elmer's glue and then put the rhinestone chains in a circle. And I did that for both tires, and I did 3 circles for each tire. And then I used 2 earrings and took the backs off of them and put those in the center of the tires. One of the things that I look for at garage sales besides glass is jewelry that I use in a lot of my projects. And then I took this Ashland decorative filler that I had painted red with my Krylon stained glass spray paint. And this is translucent. You can spray all of the Michaels reflective glass with the translucent spray paints to change the colors. I have also used alcohol inks, and I'm now learning that some alcohol inks are better than others as far as retaining the colors. So anyway, I had painted this red, and I used this to fill in all the areas of the car except for the truck, I should say, except for the windows. And then I was doing some touch-up with some tape. The best way to get little pieces of glass or dust off of your glass is with some painter's tape. But I also found that it started pulling up some of the black marker, so I had to go ahead and fill that in again. So just be careful if you use the painter's tape to get the dust and glass off of your project before you put the resin on. It does pull up the magic marker. Next, I started putting the resin on. The resin I'm using for this project is art resin. It's a 1-to-1 ratio resin that has a work time of about 45 minutes. I usually sprinkle it all over the glass first to make sure it's all covered, and then up in the corners and around the edges. Even though it says it's self-leveling, it's really important that you push it into the corners and along the edges, or else you will have some empty spots. Then I try to smooth it out, and I use my heat gun to, or not heat gun, I use my little kitchen torch to get rid of the bubbles. Next, I put on my tumbled shaped glass hearts in the trunk, kind of put those all over, and I put one little heart up in the middle too. And I think this looks really cute, and I do end up covering each of the hearts with some resin. I like when the glass is all shiny and pretty. Some people don't like it like that. Some people would prefer their tumbled glass to be frosted, and that's fine. It's just a personal preference. And then I use the little kitchen torch again to get rid of the bubbles, and it's done. It needs to sit on a flat level surface overnight. After 12 hours, you can usually touch it. It takes a full 72 hours to cure at temperatures between 72 and 85 degrees Fahrenheit. Now, this is the brand name Art Resin. All resins are different. You need to read the directions for the resin that you are using. Hey everyone. I hope you can see this. It's kind of light. The only thing that's really dark on it is the hearts there. But anyway, so I did something like this around Christmas time. I did the truck with the Christmas tree, and I made it a dark red, and I'm almost wishing I had made this a darker red. The glass is red, but I did the outline of the rhinestone chain in a iridescent light color. But I kind of wanted it to be a little bit different. So, and these glass hearts, they are so pretty. I love them. And these, I don't know if you noticed, by the end I had two earrings on, and then I changed them out. These are earrings also. I thought those looked real cute for the tires. But anyway, I enjoyed making it. I hope you guys enjoyed the video. If you did, give it a thumbs up. That helps the channel. If you enjoy the channel or want to be notified of other videos coming out, go ahead and subscribe. And I hope you all have a great day. Thanks for watching.